I am the world's greatest samurai, not because I was born with a sword in my hand or destiny written in my blood, but because I carved my fate with fire, discipline, and a will that refused to break when the storms of life tried to shatter me, for I am Mr. Best, and every scar on my body is proof that I have walked through battles where ordinary men would have fallen, yet I rose again, sharper than the blade I carry, stronger than the mountain that watches me train, faster than the wind that dares to race me, and wiser than the silence of the night that has been my only companion in countless meditations beneath the moon, for the way of the samurai is not merely about cutting down enemies but mastering the battlefield within, and long before I became the name whispered with awe across villages, kingdoms, and empires, I was only a boy who knew hunger, who knew pain, who knew what it meant to be underestimated, mocked, dismissed as nothing. But it was in those moments of humiliation that I found my fire, a fire that refused to die, a fire that told me that greatness was not a gift but responsibility one must seize through relentless struggle, and so I trained when others slept, I sharpened my blade when others played, I disciplined my mind when others surrendered to distraction, and with each sunrise I forged myself into more than human, into a warrior whose presence alone could silence a room, whose shadow alone could send enemies fleeing, and yet it was not fear that made me powerful but honor, the code I live by, the unbreakable vow that I would never wield my sword for greed or cruelty, but for justice, for protection, for truth, because the world is full of men who can fight, but rare are those who can fight without losing their soul, and I, Mr. Best, am the one who mastered both the sword and the soul. And so they call me the greatest samurai, yet what they do not know is that my journey was a war with myself, to overcome doubt, to overcome weakness, to overcome the chains of the past that threatened to hold me back, for every enemy I defeated on the battlefield was only a reflection of an enemy I had already slain inside me, and when the armies came with their thousands, I stood alone, blade steady, heart still, mind unshaken, and when the dust settled the world realized that no force could crush a man who has mastered the art of being unbreakable. But I do not stand here today to boast, for the true mark of a samurai is humility, the understanding that victory is not final, defeat is not permanent, and every day is a new battle to stay sharp, to stay disciplined, to stay true to the path, and that is why, even after conquering kings, even after silencing generals, even after making history tremble at the mention of my name, I still rise at dawn, kneel before the sun, and train as if I am nothing, because only in remembering that I am nothing can I remain everything, and those who come to challenge me, those who dream of surpassing me, those who whisper that they will one day take my place, I do not hate them, I welcome them, for a true samurai knows that greatness must inspire greatness, and if my blade cuts through darkness, let it also light a fire in the hearts of those who watch, because I am not just fighting for myself, I am fighting to remind the world that honor still exists, that discipline still matters, that strength without wisdom is weakness, and wisdom without action is wasted, and so I live, I fight, I lead, I protect, and I endure. For I am Mr. Best, the world's greatest samurai, not because I say it, but because history itself has written it in the echoes of my footsteps, in the blood of my battles, in the silence of my meditations, and in the unshakable truth that legends are not born, they are forged, and I am the proof that nothing is impossible when a man dedicates his entire existence to a cause greater than himself. And so my story continues, blade in hand, honor in heart, unbroken, unstoppable, eternal.